Good evening, friends. Welcome to yet another live class from LearnApp. I'm Oral David here. Before I could go ahead, can we have a quick audio and video check to make sure that all of you can see and hear my screen? Please put yes in the chat box if you can do so. Okay, so I was just waiting for a couple of people to join in. I did not get a yes confirmation from anyone except from LearnApp support. Whether you can see my screen and hear my voice. So if you don't mind, if you can just put a yes in the chat box if you can see my screen and hear my voice, so that I'm making sure that I'm not just talking to my computer. Fantastic, awesome, great, awesome. That's great, friends. So let's get started. Welcome to this live class from LearnApp. My name is Oral David, and I'm going to take you through a class today on Introduction to Options. So there is a note, a request from one of the learners here. So Vaibhav says, can I share my live screen of a trade of option writing strategy? Okay, Vaibhav, today's class is not going to be on option writing strategy. I wouldn't mind doing that on the option writing strategy class. Please ask me on that day. And what do you mean by a live screen? You want to see a screenshot of a live trade? Definitely, I can do that. I can take out a screenshot of a live trade immediately after taking it, the trade of my broker terminal. I can add it and show it. I can show that particular screen in the class next time. No doubt about that. Fantastic. We will do that, Vaibhav. So. Let's get started. To see, today's class is going to be a basics class on options. So if you are new to the markets totally, probably you may not understand everything what we discussed today. I would suggest you to take up some basic classes on equities and other things first before we can get into a little advanced topic on options. But however, if you are new to options, this is the right class for you, because we're going to just go over the very basics of what options are. Okay, so if at all you are an advanced options trader, then you need to have some patience, because today's class would not get into the very basics of options. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, what is LearnApp? So LearnApp is a platform where you can get world-class education on financial and various related topics at very affordable prices, and we have mentors here and experts in their own fields who are mentoring you guys on how you can also become successful in the same field. I have to mention or say a disclaimer here that LearnUp is not a SEBI registered investment advisor. So any kind of any information shared on this in this class should not be construed as an investment advice, and it should be only taken as a for educational purposes. At LearnUp, we use two modes for imparting education. Uh, One are the recorded video classes. Okay, we have various experts, sharing their experience and their knowledge through video classes, where you can actually hear and listen to the same people again and again. It's you can just rewind them and play back, and to just to make sure you caught all the points. And in case you have more doubts and questions and you want to get updates on the course, then we have live classes as well, where you can join in and ask questions. So this is the LearnApp platform. You guys can, once you sign in, you will get to see all the courses, the various video classes that happen right here. And new courses are being added very frequently, so you will get updates. You make sure you enable notifications so that you get updates on the live classes that keep coming up. So this is yeah, this is me. So this is the course on option writing strategy, which I had done. So if once you have gone through today's live options basics class, you can in fact watch this class, watch this video, because it has the basics of the option writing strategy. So this is a strategy which I had developed as I was looking for something in the market which could be always positive. And this is a strategy which is always positive, irrespective of whether market is positive or not. So great. So let's come back. We have this promotion going on where you can refer your friends. And when you do refer a friend to LearnApp, and when they sign up, you as well as them get 1 month free access. Okay, so 1 month free of cost. All you have to do is share the link, the custom link that is available to you on the site. So share that on your social media platforms, on email, on text messages, on WhatsApp. You can share it, and just make sure your friend uses that link, clicks on that link, and then signs up with LearnUp, and you then get free 1 month. And you can even track on the site how many people have signed up using your link. This class is going to be recorded, and the recording will be available for the next 5 days. Okay, and this is the introduction to options, as I told you, the name of the class. Okay, so let's dive straight in. So first of all, we need to understand what are options. Okay, what is it coming from? So you would have definitely heard this term derivatives. So what are derivatives? Derivatives are, as the name suggests, something which is derived from something else. Okay, so that's what derivatives are. So in financial terms, it is a contract. Okay, so derivatives are contracts that are derived from assets. Okay, those assets are called underlying assets. So what do I mean by assets? Assets are equity are assets, gold is an asset, commodities are asset, bullion, base metal, natural gas, all these are assets. Even your US dollar currencies are assets, right? And you have various different asset classes, like even a mutual fund is an asset, or maybe a real estate is an asset. So all these are assets, and people buy and sell these assets. And when they do that, they also would like to enter into contracts, and these contracts are called derivatives. So there are two types of contracts. They are option contracts and future contracts. Okay, so future contracts are not going to be discussed in today's class, but we are going to talk about option contracts. And as the name suggests, options are called options because they give an option to the buyer of the contract. Okay, so there will be two parties in any contract. One party will be a buyer and the other party will be a seller. So the buyer is the one who has an option, right? And that's why they are called as options. Let's see what the options are in a little while. But remember, there are two types of options as well. One is called a call option, another one is called a put option. So we'll look into each of them. What do they really mean? So let's understand this with a live example of, let's think of you're going ahead and buying a house. Okay, so let's say this house is going to cost you 5 crore. Okay, and you decided that you wanted to buy this house. So you go to the owner of this house, the one who is owning the house, and he is also the seller. He wants to sell the house. So you go and approach him and tell him you want to buy this house. So what do you do usually when you want to buy a house? Is it like going to a supermarket, paying cash, and just bringing home the item the same day? Does that happen usually in the case of assets like houses? Definitely not, right? So it will take a whole deal of 5 crore. If it has to get concluded, it will take couple of months maybe. Okay, if not weeks, it may take couple of months as well. So it may be when a deal is going to take a couple of months, it is required that the both the parties adhere to whatever they are committed to. So, for example, you go to the seller or the owner of this house and say, "I want this house, but by the time I finish arranging all the money and settling looking at all your documents and doing all the process, is going to take 3 months, right? So, I will be paying you the entire 5 crore within 3 months, and within once I pay you the entire amount, we need to complete all the documentation, and you need to give me possession at that time." So in order that the seller does not go ahead and sell it to somebody else for maybe 5.5 or 6 crores, what would you do? You would pay him a token advance, right? So the token advance that you pay, maybe about say 5 lakh, you pay as a token advance, and you seal the deal, what we call it. So the deal is sealed. So once you pay that 5 lakh, now the seller cannot sell this house to anyone else, even if he gets a buyer for 6 crore, 7 crore, or for any amount higher than that. Or in any case, okay, the seller has an obligation to sell this house to you, and he has an obligation to deliver its possession once you have made the complete payment, right? So that is the usual way of how these assets are transacted. So this is no different in equity markets as well. So what you have actually done is, when you paid 5 lakhs, you have purchased a right on this house, right? So it is basically nothing but you have entered into an option contract, and this kind of an option contract is called a call option. Okay, so we spoke about two types of options, the call option and the put option, and this type of an option contract is called a call option. So let's look at what a call option is really means and what are the terminologies involved in that. So an option contract gives the buyer a right to buy a underlying asset. Underlying asset in this case, what we were discussing, is a house. So it is a right to buy an underlying asset at a specific price, okay, called the strike price. So what's the specific price here? It is 5 CR, okay, and 5 CR would be the strike price. on a specified date. So when is that specified date? As I said, 3 months from today. So let's say, for example, it was to be bought. We are in the month of February, so March, April, May. So May 30th was the expiry date. So that means that's the by that time you need to, the seller needs to give you the house, and you need to pay the entire amount, do the settlement on a future date. So this is what a usual option contract is all about. So in such a case, what happens is the option seller now will have an obligation. Remember, the buyer has a right, but the seller has an obligation. Okay, he has an obligation to sell the house, the underlying asset, at the same specified price, that is the strike price, on the specified date, or that is on the same date. So he has the obligation to do that. That's what is meant by a call option. So remember, the buyer of the house, that is you, where you paid him 5 lakhs, that amount that you paid is called a premium. Okay, maybe in the case of house, we don't call it as a premium, we call it a token advance, right? But in the equity markets or in the options market, in the stock exchanges, the word used is premium. It's nothing but the same thing. So, what do you think would happen if, let's say, after you paid this token advance, the very next, after say around 15 days or a month, suddenly there is some kind of a bad news. Okay, there's a bad news that the government is taking over that entire, space around your house, and the roads are going to be blocked and everything. So, what do you think will happen to the value of that property, which is 5 CR? Put your response in the chat, friends. What do you think would happen to the value of that property? Prices are going to go down. Exactly right. So let's say the prices went down from 5 CR to 3.5 CR. Right now, what would be your plight? You have bought a house for 5 CR. You are going to pay, but actually you're going to lose 1.5 CR. Okay, if you actually take delivery of possession of this house. So as a buyer and as a person who paid the premium of 5 lakhs, you have a choice, you have an option. You can choose to decide to get away from the deal by letting go of that 5 lakhs what you paid, right? So the buyer has a right only. He doesn't have an obligation. He doesn't have to take the house at 5 lakhs, 5 CR. Okay, he has the right but not an obligation. So he can skip. He can choose to not take the house, but for that he has to pay a price. The price is the premium of 5 lakhs that you paid. So you are willing to let go of that 5 lakhs. Who gets the 5 lakhs? The seller gets the 5 lakhs. Okay, so seller, since he has taken the risk, he gets the 5 lakhs as his amount for taking the risk and for not letting go of his house. So this is how an option contract works. So remember, it's only the buyer who has the option, but not the seller. The seller has only an obligation. So hope this is clear, friends, what is meant by the strike price, what is meant by an option. So let's look at it from the point of view of the stock markets. Okay, in the case of equity markets, how does it look? So now what you see on the screen here is Sun Pharma. It's an option contract of Sun Pharma. Sun Pharma is the underlying asset over here. Sun Pharma is a pharmaceutical company which has shares. So the instrument type is a call option. Okay, so how do you know this is a call option? So can you see there's a word, there's a two words here, CE. Okay, CE stands for call European. E stands for European. So call option, right? So this is CE. That's why we know it is a call option. Then the underlying asset in this case is Sun Pharma. Sun Pharma, the shares of Sun Pharma is the underlying asset. The expiry date in this case is 18th August is mentioned here, but the exact date is not mentioned. So some of the brokers would have, the date also will be mentioned. Usually the expiry happens on the last Thursday of every month. Okay, so in this case, it is 18 stands for the year 2018, and August is the month, and it's the last Thursday of August is understood. That's why they have not mentioned it here. And then what is the option type? So the option could be a call option or a put option. How do we know what's the option type? Is because CE is there, right? So C stands for call option. And strike price. So what's the strike price, friends, in this? So as you can see, this it's mentioned here 600. Okay, so 600 is the strike price. So in this case, this the buyer of this contract would have a right to buy the shares of Sun Pharma. How many shares of Sun Pharma? He would be having a right to buy 1,100 shares. Now usually option contracts are traded in lot sizes, they are not traded in eaches, right? So in these lot sizes are specified by the exchange. So 1,100 is the lot size specified for Sun Pharma. So the buyer of this contract